Development charges are obviously right up there as cost driver. Even though we obtained a commitment from the province not to open the Development Charges Act, they are still spiraling over the top, with notable exception of the City of Toronto, where Build worked to achieve a 2-year freeze and a 4-year phase-in of the increase. As you might know, Build also achieved a huge precedent-setting victory at the OMB, where we successfully challenged the town of Orangeville, saving new home buyers there about $1,500 a unit. Notwithstanding the threat of appeals to the Orangeville decision, I'm pleased to report that the town of Oakville, believe it or not, has rolled back DCs by $3,100 a unit, including $1,175 relating to the Hempson methodology in a negotiated settlement. That said, we are committed to see each and every appeal through to the end in the name of housing affordability and choice. And heads up, home builders, we will be reaching out to you to help us underwrite some of those costs. With respect to HST, there are many differing opinions. However, the way in which harmonization went down provincially creates a great opportunity to generate some tax relief federally. Later this week, in an effort coordinated by Build, the top 30 high and low-rise builders of the GTA will co-sign a letter to Federal Finance Minister Jim Flaherty. They will call on him to truly harmonize the sales taxman treatment of newly built homes and condominiums by adopting a graduated tax structure and single threshold price federally and provincially. These changes would provide some modest tax relief for new home buyers in high-cost markets like the GTA. And when it comes to affordability, every bit counts. I would like to shift gears now to my second objective, sustainability. I like to think of sustainability as the capacity to endure economically, to endure socially, and of course, to endure environmentally. I've already put my cards on the table. Empire is a green company, and I'm proud of it. I'm also proud to serve as an industry representative on the Building Code Energy Advisory Council, which is providing advice to the provincial government on building code changes pertaining to energy and water conservation. The Green Energy Act has made energy and water conservation renewed objectives under the new building code. We at Build have to ensure that any regulatory targets are achievable in a cost-effective way. When I look at an organization like Inaugural, by the way, which is 50% owned by the Ontario Home Builders Association, I see a great example of progress along the green continuum. Inaugural has done a phenomenal job administrating the Energy Star for New Homes program, training builders in best green building practices, and helping all of us get ready for EnerGuide 80, the new code requirements coming into effect less than a year from now. Thank you, Inaugural. Green building is going to become an increasingly hot topic this year in Toronto, as we are host city for Green Build, the annual conference of the U.S. Green Building Council. It is a huge conference. It's the largest in the world, attracting more than 30,000 delegates from 75 different countries, and it's the first time, and perhaps the only time, it will ever be held outside of the U.S. This is a great coup for us and a golden opportunity to showcase our leadership and innovation. And speaking of the Green Energy Act, in another great case of leadership by example, I am proud to reveal that on January 14th, Build officially plugged into the grid, working with Pure Energies to take advantage of the micro feed-in tariff provisions of the Act. The solar PV array on the roof of Build headquarters definitely moves us a little bit further ahead along the green continuum, and we will continue to strive for this ideal. The third and final objective I wanted to highlight this evening is prosperity. And when I use the word, I'm really talking about economic impact. The economic impact of our industry is well documented, yet somehow the media, public, and government never seem to fully connect the dots between a healthy housing industry and the jobs and tax revenues that come with it. If people needed convincing, the fact that some of the leading economists attributed 100% of the post-recession economic growth to the housing sector should be all the evidence required. The erection of every tower crane for each new condo building in the city should be as newsworthy as the opening of a manufacturing plant or the addition of another shift at an existing plant, because those cranes are factories unto themselves, spinning off jobs and creating revenues for all levels of government. Having just gotten back from the International Builders Show in the US, where they're still talking about light at the end of the tunnel in the future sense, I can tell you that we are envied by all of them, yet somehow we're just not feeling the love locally. The housing industry single-handedly muscled the economy back off the mat and back to life, and we've heard more talk about ways to slow down the market than we have praise for the prosperity that we have created. So how do we change attitudes? How do we change public opinion? Apparently, it's not just by pushing out the statistics on jobs and numbers, although we should never apologize for that. I think we might be able to learn from example which is set by the forest sector. A decade ago, that industry had a poor public image as a fat cat industry that was clear-cutting our forests and harming the environment in many other ways. Today, the picture has changed. The forest sector succeeded in putting a more human face on their industry to the point where today you don't hear about the activists chaining themselves to trees. Governments are actually looking at the forest sector as an engine of economic development. What a great model to follow. Over the years, whenever we've talked about changing the public's attitude towards development and building, we've always come to the same conclusion, that there simply isn't enough money to buy enough ads to overcome the negative bias. Today, with the emergence of social media tools used effectively by Build, we can improve our industry image. We've just put the finishing touches on a strategy to employ every social medium, ranging from Facebook to Twitter, Flickr, YouTube, blogging, in one way or another, to connect with the public whether home buyers or homeowners. I'll be putting my money where my mouth is by regularly contributing to the blog, and I'll be talking more about things like the greening of the industry or our community contributions, as well as our economic impact. We can also use social media as a tool for public education on the home buying and home renovation process by starting a two-way conversation. Obviously, we will not forget about our traditional forms of media. With the great support that we enjoy from the print media, we have lots of avenues to get our message out, and we will continue to do so. While communication will be one of my top priorities, it will not be at the expense of government relations, which will always be a major focus for Build, particularly the work of the chapters. Another priority for 2011 will be the continued promotion of Renomark, both locally and nationally, using social and traditional media, as well as via our home shows. But last but not least, we will continue our very strong community partnership with Habitat for Humanity, our educational partnerships with Waterloo and Ryerson, and looking forward to George Brown College as well, our new partnerships with the Canadian Association of Women in Construction, and building on that model, on the CAWIC model, we'll be looking at a new vehicle where younger generation of our industry can meet as peers. It's going to be a very exciting year ahead. It usually is in our industry. And it goes without saying that everything I hope to do can only be done with your support and the commitment of staff, the approval of the executive and of the board. I stand here this evening with the active endorsement of my partners. Thank you, Dan, Andrew, Paul Sr., and of course the team at Empire. Thank you for your encouragement and your support. And of course, thank you to Stephen Dupuis for your unwavering leadership throughout these years, and looking forward to working with you. And of course, saving the best to last, my wife Sharon and our 3 children. Thanks for your unswerving support in everything I do. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all fortunate to be part of one of the most rewarding pursuits in the world, and that is building homes and fulfilling dreams. Each time we turn over those keys, we're opening the door to new beginnings, and I don't know anyone who hasn't looked back at their first home as one of the most exciting days of their lives and one of the best decisions they have ever made. So let's keep making these dreams come true. Thank you very much.